So Zhongding is central upright equilibrium, and Taiji means supreme polarity. So working with the forces of yin and yang. So we want the body to be upright. In order for the body to truly be upright, we have to fully surrender to the force of gravity. So anywhere that we're holding in the body, trying to hold ourselves up, push against the ground, we're actually creating a place that is stuck, and then gravity is actually pulling us more there. So if you think of let me turn towards you.
Can I interrupt you for just a second?
Yeah.
As you're talking, I'm realizing that it's not going to get your voice from up there. What? Oh, you aren't. Never mind.
I'm starting to figure this whole thing out. So anywhere you tighten, the weight gets stuck in that area, and so gravity's pulling on it more. If we soften, we can let the weight sink all the way down and through the body into the earth, and then what's light naturally floats up. So we want to allow what's heavy to sink down, and then what's light will naturally float up. Don't have to do anything to hold the body up. So thinking about like if we took a glass, if you had a perfect cylindrical glass, and we scooped some of that water, the creek, it's all like, it's kind of cloudy, it's kind of muddy. If we scoop that water and we set it on the table and we just leave it there for a long enough period of time, the sediment, all the heavy stuff will sink down, and then what's naturally light and clear will float up. So the trick in our bodies is setting up the glass properly. And so if you think of the process of, I just came up with this analogy 2 weeks ago, and I think it's the best. I'm really proud of this one. So if you think of like glass blowing and creating a cup from glass blowing, first the glass has to get melted down, right? It becomes soft. So we got to let the body be soft. And then they attach it to this tube, central upright equilibrium, this tube, and they blow into it and they rotate it so that as they blow into this soft glass, it expands evenly in all directions. So we want to find that in the body, awareness sinking to the dantian, the center here. And as we soften, it starts to open that space up. You can also add the breath, but you don't want to add force with the breath. Just allow it to be natural. But the chi will naturally start to fill and open that space as we soften. And so first we want to find that in the body. So remember the...
That's a good one.
Thanks.
That's good.
So first the outer details, emptying the neck so the crown of the head can float up. I highly recommend bringing your hands up to the mastoid process here, which is the bone just below the ears, and kind of placing it between the middle and the fourth finger and applying some upward force, simultaneously thinking about shoulders dropping down. So you're increasing the space between the mastoid process and the clavicle and scapula, and feeling that vector of force and how it. Now, the important thing here is when you push up here, it's not this. You're not doing this. You need to let go with your head. Let your neck totally soften so that your head would fall down if it's not, right? So the back of the neck's going to soften long. Your gaze is going to drop to like 45-degree angle down in front of you ish. Back of the neck is long, chin tucks slightly, and feeling that, and then everything else softening down. And letting the hands come back down. So you have that sensation, that vector of force, like you're wearing one of those neck hammocks that's lifting the head, and then everything else softening down.
That also is really good at doing that.
The neck hammock, yeah.
I feel like the two places where I really get bound up is here. So I'm trying to really actively let that go and not.
Mm-hmm.
And then my knees have always been my lifelong stuck place of pain, weakness, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Slaughters years ago, and so I'm trying to find that place, and I think I'm finding it right now, where I'm not actually doing what you said in the beginning, where it was like a clench against gravity. Where it's like somehow it's like some tensegrity thing is happening. I think I'm kind of on the edge of it right now, but
Good.
just noticing those two places.
Yeah, good. Yeah, the abdomen, the chest emptying is really essential for being able to fill the abdomen. Soften and fill the abdomen. And what makes that possible? So real quick here, hands not lifting the shoulders, but just rotating the hands kind of out as far as you can. So the scapula kind of come together there. So we need the scapula, and then just letting the arms go, but keeping the scapula hanging down the back of the rib cage. So one of the tricks here is that the scapula need to hang down the back of the rib cage and then fall away from one another so that we're not collapsing the chest, but we're then emptying the chest. So there's this closing, opening and closing of the chest, and then there's folding and unfolding of the chest and abdomen. So
Guilty.
it's difficult at first to differentiate between the two. So we want to empty the chest and initiate that fold between the abdomen and chest, but we don't want to close the chest simultaneously. So we need to let the scapula hang down and then empty the chest. We're not pinching the scapula. So that then opens up this length between basically the whole thoracic spine up to the crown of the head.
These are really, really, really good pointers. I feel like it'd be good to get up in the morning, warm up a little bit, and just stand for a minute and just go, okay, here's what alignment is, and then like have that as a memory throughout the day.
Always my recommendation is to start the day with a little practice. Yeah.
Just finding that structure, that intimacy.
Finding that structure, yeah. Huge. So then from there, this last part, and this will help with the knees. So these two things really kind of have to happen at the same time, right? It's the low back falls back. We got to think of letting the low back fall back so that the tailbone comes underneath, but we're not tightening the front. This is just letting the low back hang. When we do that, watch what happens with my neck and the crown of the head in order to get there. Do you see that? Has to happen together. You can't hang the low back if the back of the neck is tight.
Mhm.
So there's this, it's like a bow, right? Like a bow and arrow bow.
Mm-hmm.
And you're, we're, we're just loading the string onto the bow is what we're doing with this stance. The bow, the whole thing as one piece has to open. So the spine, all the vertebrae of the spine fall away from one another. That has to happen as one piece.
Mm.
Can't just happen here, and it can't just happen here. We want it to be one thing integrated. The other side to that,
And when it does it, it actually feels good.
it feels good. Yeah, I mean, I can like totally relax standing. My back is probably more relaxed than the average person when they're laying down. It feels really nice. So then the hip joints are the other piece that has to fall back. We want to not make sure that we don't bend the knees.
That's what I was doing earlier.
We don't bend the knees. When you bend the knees, when you think about bending the knees, the force then is going out through the knees and you have to use tension to hold it up.
But they're unlocked.
But what you're saying is, you're
Yeah.
not saying the knee shouldn't bend. You're saying don't bend the knees.
Yeah, don't
Okay,
think
cool.
about
Yeah.
bending the knees. The knees release through the hip joints falling back. So the knees, in everything that we do here, basically the knees stay in the same place in space. And the leg, which is the shin bone, basically, this is thigh, this is leg, just so you know for technical terminology. So the leg stays perpendicular to the ground, doesn't go past perpendicular to the ground. So with the standing, right, the space opens up. We're opening up this space, right? Like the glass blowing glass. So we want to open up this space here and in front of the body. So here's the other thing about that glass is that the back of it is the back, right? The sides are actually like way out here, and then the front of it is in front of the body. So we're not just opening up the space inside the body, we're opening up the space all around the body. So let's just stand for a little bit now after getting that and finding that. And it's okay to move around a little bit, you know, like find that soft area. Find that space of ease where each part of the body can fall away from all of the other parts equally. And then do some letting the awareness, the mind, the visual thought field, the auditory thought field all merges at that space behind the navel. Continually softening the outside of the body, any areas of holding, pain, resistance. Simultaneously, the inside of the body expanding, filling, being upright. The outside softens down, surrendering to gravity. The inside naturally expands, has that upright quality. Man. So sink the chi, wash the organs. So keeping part of your awareness in the dantian, bring your awareness up to the crown of your head. Think about water pouring down from the crown of your head, softening down the neck into the shoulders, the upper back, the chest, then down the arms, filling inside the fingertips. So that water sinking down, and the weight of the water then is pulling the fingertips down further away from the crown of the head until it can't go down any further, and it starts spreading out to the sides. And then it's still filling down, spreading out to the sides, still filling down, scapula hanging, and then it all washes down. Here, the hip joints have to fall back. Back of the neck stays long, low back hanging as it sinks into the earth. All the way under the feet, it's still sinking down, it's still sinking down, it's still sinking down, it's still sinking down. Returning awareness behind the navel. So here it's the sinking down into the hands, filling down, it starts to spread out to the sides. And again, filling down and out to the sides, down and out to the sides. And then elbows heavy, just surrendering to that natural flow down. Abdomen fills. In order for the water to keep sinking, the hip joints have to fall back, making that space for it. Back of the neck long, low back hanging into the earth, releasing the neck. Everything else sinking down so much that it causes this upward motion to occur. Awareness behind the navel. Yeah. So the knees bend here, but not because we bend the knees, but because the hip joints fall back. And so the lower leg stays perpendicular. The knees basically don't move forward in space. Like if there was a electric fence right in front of the knees, you don't want them to go forward because you'll get shocked. Okay, well, how do you sink down without shoving the knees forward? So it's the hip joints have to fall back, low back hangs, back of the neck long. And I'll give you guys a different angle. Also might look cooler for a little video clip. So we're sinking down out to the sides here. Really important, we still sink down and out to the sides. Hands fall away from the middle, not up. When we do that, then we naturally get around that top corner without collapsing the space. Closing, palms down, sinking the chi. Whoa, what was that one? Is that a crow?
Maybe the third floor maybe they're using a qigong right now, but it sounds like one of the woodpeckers that was here.
That was a woodpecker? Oh, what? That bwomp bwomp? Cool. Okay, like we're in the ocean, up to the wrists. Wave moves forward, but we don't want it to steal our center of gravity and take us forward with it. We just want to let the hands go. So we soften down, low back hangs back, hands go forward. One more time. So hip joints to wrists open up. And then now we're going to gather from the horizon. We're going to imagine as if there's a horizon there in front of us. So we're gathering the chi, the spacious chi from the horizon. So intent is behind the navel. It expands out to the horizon, wide angle vision, then returns, coalescing back to the dantian. And gathering to the middle dantian. So we're gathering the qi from the environment, from the plants. Letting it all go, feeling the weight of the hands under the feet. So here, hands are like a pendulum, and feeling the weight of the hands under the feet. So softening the shoulders, letting the hands be heavy, letting the arms be heavy, but feeling that weight under the feet. And gathering from the earth. So, only going as low as is comfortable. Hip joints fall back, intent sinks into the earth, comes up between the legs. Here, hands, wrists only need to go back as far as is comfortable. So, shoulders should stay soft. No strain or tension on the shoulders. So here, elbows fall out to the sides, shoulders stay hanging down. It's not that they like don't come up at all, but we want to avoid using tension there. We want to have the idea that they're still softening down.
Do you want to say anything about the intent here as guiding the chi?
So the intent sinks into the earth, comes up between the legs, continues from that place up past the perineum, sacrum, low back, Mingmen, which is between L2, L3. It's opposite the navel, and then comes forward, resting at the dantian. So into the earth, up the legs, continues, sacrum, low back, dantian. Yeah, closing. I need to change. I'm getting too hot. So in order for the chi to sink and the weight to sink and to find that stability so the upper part of the body can be yang and soft and flowing and we can be stable underneath, we have to create the proper shape, proper outer shape, proper vessel so that it can sink down through. And one of the key points of that is that anywhere where we're tightening is where the weight will get trapped. And so that's to say, especially when we're going to do some of the Fang Song Gong, is to, if this happens, then the weight can't sink through. You can feel like if I'm doing this, like the rest of my body it's sinking, it's like doing the right things, but it's not actually all the way through. And so if pressure were to be applied to the system there, that's a place that not that it's forward, but because it's collapsed. Collapsed. Yeah. The three-dimensional structure, right? We want to create this three-dimensional structure that's even, it's round, it's evenly round in all directions. If one place is collapsed, then it compromises the whole structure. And I say that because when we start doing this, it's really easy to start tipping side to side and collapsing with the structure subtly somewhere. And that will just mean that the chi won't actually be able to sink all the way down and through. Okay, so Fang Song Gong is, I feel like I have to yell if I'm not faced towards you guys. Fang Song Gong means basically releasing into suppleness. Fong is like letting go, releasing. Song is softness with presence. It's like suppleness. So this is Zoyo Yin Yang, left, right, Yin Yang. So we're letting one side be heavy, other side is light. So this side fills, other side empties. We sink through this side and the other side naturally floats up. In all of this stuff, rather than thinking about like the side that's coming up, like normal movement is, oh, I have to do something to make the hand go up. Actually, if we just let go and differentiate, that hand's going to float up naturally. So a few things here. We don't want to lose the, so we started here, we have this singular space that we've created, this unified space, like a glass. So we want to keep that structure. We want to keep that awareness. And then inside of that, we're differentiating. And it's like we have two other glasses inside of that now that we're pouring glass from one side into the other. So hands are
really precious and we don't want to spill.
yeah.
Oh shit. Sorry.
Yeah, you don't want to tip side to side, right? So head over foot. Head over foot. 100% weight shift. You know, like how a eagle walks. If an eagle's walking, head over foot. Head over foot.
I always think of this like bowling, especially the other one, you know. Like, just got
Yeah. And side that we're sinking into, hip joint creases, releasing the knee. The side that empties, we have to soften that hip joint and let go. The side that's emptying, we let go of the hip so that the knee can basically stay where it's at in space. So instead of doing this, if you just look at the knees for a second, instead of doing this, we want to make sure that we're letting go of that hip so that the knee can basically stay where it's at in space. And when we let go of that hip, it stays hanging. So the hip that's emptying, even though it's emptying and the wrist is floating up, the hip, it should feel as if the hip is sinking down. Same with the shoulder. The side that's emptying, the hip and the shoulder sink down as we let go of them, even though the hand is floating up. And yeah.
it's interesting to practice on slightly not level
Yeah.
ground. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just
It's
bringing other things
trickier.
into play, you know?
It's trickier, yeah.
When we do this in the grass in the summer, I spend just a long time just trying to find
the spot
place to do it. Whoa. What are we doing now?
So then same thing, but we're adding a little waist turn. So here, my right hand becomes heavy. The hand sinking leads the movement. Hand becomes heavy, and then the rest of the body follows. Hand becomes heavy, rest of the body follows. Letting go of the left side. Letting go of the right side. Connection between the hands. Connection from the hands to the dantian. So as the left hand comes forward, the left hip stays back. As the right hand comes forward, the right hip stays back. Not because we're holding it, but because we're just softening it and letting it go. So the movement comes from the waist turn.
So this should, we do this one.
Yeah.
Does this feel similar to that? Like I never really
It's
thought of
different.
it
It's a different. No.
It's not like a big,
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty different exercise. There's aspects of it that should feel the same, but you're not turning the waist in that one. That one's about rotating the internal energy. And yeah. So here, sinking, letting the hand fall forward. Sinking, letting the hand fall forward. Direction of movement is, if there was a wheelchair or something, wheels on either side of you, or pirate ship steering wheel on either side of you, or just a sec, stand closer, a little bit closer, too far, yeah. So right. Yeah.
oh, welcome to push-ins.
Yeah.
So my question is, when we do this, when I've done this all the other times, it's very continuous. The way you just did it, like you would sort of wait, and then this one would, there was like a pause, and I kind of like that actually.
So it's like when you, so you don't want to be in a hurry, and at all of these turnaround points, there's gonna be what appears to be a pause, but it's like, when you throw your keys up in the air, if you have your keys, you throw them up in the air, and it's like they pause up at the top for a second, but about physics, right? It doesn't pause. It doesn't stop. It just appears that way because it's turning around. So this is the same. If we're not rushing it, and if we're not the ones turning it around, we never change direction in Taiji. We never change direction. The movement changes its own direction, and we just keep following it. If we're the ones that change the direction, then we're stopping, holding the force, and then redirecting it. And there's another piece that just left my mind. So in all of these, so we soften, we let it go, it falls around the corner, and we just keep softening, we just keep softening, we just keep softening, and then it turns around on its own. We just keep softening, going that same direction. We're not in a hurry, go that direction, keep going that direction, until it'll make this corner around the movement on its own. So
feels like the one that's coming back is leading, getting back. It doesn't really, from what you're doing, it doesn't seem like it's leading until it goes to the bottom. And then it's sort of like, I think I've got too much emphasis on the coming back instead of on the one that's going forward. You know what I'm saying?
The emphasis on the hand here, let's just go back to this one. We let this hand go. We feel the weight of this hand. We feel that weight, and we feel the heaviness of the weight in the hand. And we allow that to do what it wants to do, which is sink down. And then the rest of the body follows. Again, feel the weight, feel the heaviness, stop resisting, stop holding it, and let it sink all the way down. And then it gets to the end and it starts to turn around, and we feel that heaviness and weight, and it turns around, and we're listening to the movement, listening to the weight, and we follow. And then it changes, and we follow, and the rest of the body follows. So same thing here. And one of our goals that we're cultivating here is to be through, is the technical term, right? Where the channels are no longer collapsed, they're totally open and without impediment. So if you have a hose and it's got kinks in it and whatnot, and you want to pull all of the kinks out of the hose, you go to one end and you pull that end long, and everything else follows, right? If you start grabbing it somewhere else along the hose, then it's now two pieces again instead of being one long even hose. So here we're letting the hand sink, and then the rest follows. We let the hand fall away from the body, and then everything else follows. Yeah, good question. So we'll change directions here. So hand sinks. There's this turnaround point, and now here, and then it turns around and here. Yeah. And here.
Well, I've been doing this for a long time. It really still like these are just really
Okay, I don't want to talk anymore for a little bit. Let's just practice. Save your questions till the end, and we'll go over them if they come up. Okay, so here, same thing. It's like a balloon expands between the palms, opening, and then closing. Sinks down, right hand floats up, opens, left hand starts to follow, and weight shifts. Hands open, weight still under the right. As the right hand starts to come across, then the transfer starts to happen. Just real quick here to help figuring out what that movement is. So this opening and closing of the three basins, right? Like there's a balloon between the hands. Yeah. Like the whole body is a balloon, right? Hands are falling away from one another. They're also falling away from the low back, but the whole back opens as well, just not as much as the front. Okay, so that idea now, it's that same movement, except we're differentiating yin and yang between the left and right sides of the body. So the sinking into the right really happens like here. So as the backhand comes across and sinks, that's when the filling of that side really happens. So opposite leg empties. So instead of shortening the left to turn to the left, we're going to soften the right and lengthen the right. We're using that softening, loosening to be what drives the movement. The pelvis stays forwards. We're not turning the pelvis. We're turning the waist, the lumbar spine. So let's use the electric wire metaphor again. There's an electric wire, there's two electric wires just on the inside of your knee. If the knee goes in at all, you're gonna get zapped. Also, there's a wire that runs across right in front of the body here. If you turn your hip into it, you're gonna get zapped. Yeah. So letting the arms be soft, crown of the head down to the foot, crown of the head down to the foot, but letting go of this side, knee stays back. Just turning as far as you can while keeping that. So if you twist the knee, you guys are still both twisting your knees. If you twist the knee, if you bring the knee with you, it's gonna really hurt the knee over time. So it's tricky, but you gotta let go of this side so that the knee stays back. Basically, you have to think about letting the knee fall out to the side. It's like not just staying where it's at, but like think about it falling away from the middle. It's better. And then try and do it without adding tension. Try and do it by softening and letting go.
No, it's 5 to 1.
5 to 1. Okay.
not just me.
Softly up the back of the neck and on the head. Like you're packing snow onto a snowman. So you want it to be a condensing, long energy. And I'm doing this with some really high level musicians and a drummer. So we don't want to listen to the time, like actual rhythm. We're listening to, bless you, the chi, right, which is more like water. Right, so there's a rhythm to nature, but it's not really like, generally it's not really the same rhythm as yeah.
I saw Mr. Metron, you said that.
Yeah. Don't want to upset Mr. Metronome though. Want to make sure he still hangs out at my house with Finley all the time.
What would your son do without his best buddy?
Oh man. Do you know that Mark gives Finn drum lessons?
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
Trying to turn him into one fucking funky mofo.
Yeah. He is well on his way, even with how little he practices.
You did good this last week.
Yeah. He really likes what you're doing with him right now, I think. It's like easy for him to practice. He doesn't have to deal with getting the drum set up, you know.
I thought that was going to be actually the problem, is that I didn't give him beats, so he had to just work on his hands, but I'm glad you said that.
Yeah,
I think he likes the mind stuff, you know.
And he's like, it's kind of fun, you know. Yeah. And this is exactly like what the sight reading was like, what he struggled with in band. And basically the main reason why he wanted to quit, because his teacher wouldn't like give him instruction.
He needs really
And
slow
she'd
to
just,
dial it in.
yeah, she'd just like be like, okay, play this now in front of the whole class. And if you don't do it right, we're just going to make fun of you.
Hey. So not what he needs.
Yeah. Close. questions?
I feel like this was freeing this knees to a bit. I didn't realize how much my ankles and heels were actually tensing. And I was like, man, why am I holding so much tension in this? I was trying to find the position or like a way to allow to like where are you feeling your breath going? Where are you feeling your weight within your foot, within the structure of the foot? Where you're really finding that position and it feels good for you.
All over it basically. So it's not like one point. Like some instructions are like, you should be on the whatever that point is, like, but then you'll be stuck if you're always trying to do it like on one point. The point is to let everything, let each part of the body fall away from another part of the body, all the other parts of the body equally, right? If one part falls away unequally, it creates laxity there and then tension somewhere else, and that can cause injury. Yeah, so like you touched on something important. So the process of becoming through and sinking and settling, it's a top-down process. So the feet are the last thing to become through. And yeah, it's basically like distributed throughout the whole foot, and exactly where the weight's at is going to shift and change, just like, you know, water in a vessel. And the topography, you know, that we're on top of, and the thing that's going to allow that to open is everything else being in the right position, right? So if I've got all of this stuff good, but I'm here, if my hips are forward, I don't know if you can feel that, the difference in your foot. So if you find your good structure and then you move the hips forward, there's way more weight of the foot pushing into the earth, and the weight is getting trapped there, and you can probably feel more sensation. It feels like more pressure. It's because it's not able to go through. So
that's really interesting you said that, because I thought, no, I feel more weight, but I don't feel more weight. I feel more connection.
right.
If I lean back, I feel more weight. It feels like it's actually not going through. That's what I'm feeling.
Right. So you can do it either way. Like if the hips go, if you push these forward, it kind of depends on exactly which way you're going. But yeah, if you push those forward and you're standing up, then there's more weight in the back of the foot, and you feel the pressure more, and it's because it can't go through, so all of that force and weight is getting stuck there.
It's like in system, when you punch like that, you get it all here. When you punch like that, then it just goes through. Yeah. You can't come back. Like that,
right.
Actually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah. Like any of this stuff, like if you straighten out your elbow, that's force is coming back, right? For like you don't want to stick your elbow out. You can get out all of the force through if you don't do that, right? Same sort of thing here. So yeah, let's go back over there. I mean, I guess we could do push hands here. I think we should do push hands on the platform.
Yeah, we can feel that even more, that evenness of the foot and everything.
I think that's part of it. I mean, it's
this was a tricky. This is a tricky area. We should, if you're up for it, we should like maybe like do a work party and like smooth some areas out where we want to practice, flatten them out a little bit more. I want to do that concrete's pretty hard, but just some like nice stone pavers on top of gravel there, it still feels nice. It doesn't necessarily feel quite as compacting as the concrete. So
if you guys ever want to come to Eugene, I'll build